All looks okay. Hi folks, Pete here. Hope you're doing okay. Just thought I'd give you an update as to how I'm doing, because so many of you have asked, so many of you have sent messages of kind support, and that's been completely overwhelming. So I just thought I'd update you as to how I'm getting on. So as many of you know, if you listen to the podcast regularly, back in April really, I started feeling very fatigued. The best way I can describe it is basically feeling like I've got flu all the time. Not the shivers and not the sort of fever and sort of hot and cold and all that, but the aching all the time, particularly for me in my lower body and in my joints and stuff, and general lack of energy, and also mental focus as well. So as you can imagine, that's not been a whole load of fun. I'm very aware, by the way, that in the grand scheme of things, that's pretty minor. There's an awful lot of you dealing with a lot worse than that. But for me, obviously, this is the first time I've ever really experienced what you could call sort of prolonged ill health. So as you'd expect, I've had all kinds of checks, particularly lots of blood tests, all of which were fine. In fact, in the words of my doctor, he said they were the most sickeningly normal set of blood results he'd seen in decades. So I think that's a good thing. So it's good to know that there's nothing biochemical going on. Everything was checked: kidney, thyroid, liver, cholesterol. I'm not pre-diabetic. I don't have any COVID antibodies either. So that was all pretty encouraging, really. But while it's encouraging, I'm no further forth really as to finding out exactly what's going on. I've also had conversations with a homeopathic therapist. I've done no exercise for months now. I've taken 2 lots of 2 weeks off work. The first was essentially off sick. The second was already booked as annual leave anyway. But what I've been trying to do is to make some pretty significant changes, because in all of the investigations to what's going on, I think probably the biggest factor is overwork. Now, I never thought I would be that guy, right? I've always been really, really good at keeping my day job separate from my home life. So I never take Jackson's work home. Jackson's is my business here. I never take that home when I'm on holiday. I never check work emails. I've got a fantastic team here who support me so that I don't have to do that. Jackson's runs really well without me because I've got a great team, and I've got 3 great co-owners of the business who share the responsibility with me. But I have a second job, if you like, although it never feels like that, and that's this channel, Meaningful Money. And obviously the podcast is a large part of it. YouTube is an increasingly large part of it, and I want it to be increasingly large part of it. And because that never feels like work, I'm more than happy to do that at home. And I think particularly in lockdown, what happened was that as some of the other things that I like to do fell away, I filled that time with more screen time. Writing, recording, editing, all the stuff that I love to do, but it is still work. So one of the patterns that's come out of the conversations that I've had with various professionals while working through all this is that pretty much the only thing I do to excess is work. And again, part of that is because a lot of it doesn't feel like work. One of my happy places is surrounded by technology, behind my laptop screen, learning how software works and learning video editing techniques. I'm not sure what that says about me, really. And because it doesn't feel like work, it's been easy to just let it expand to fill more time than it should. One other thing that's come out is even if I'm not actively working, I never switch off. I always am listening to audiobooks or podcasts. I'm always reading, and I never literally just be. I never just sit or walk or mow the grass with nothing going on, nothing being input. And one of the professionals that I've been speaking to said that even if I'm listening to a novel, it's fiction, while I'm walking the dog or cutting the grass or whatever, I'm still imposing on my brain what it should be thinking about, rather than just let it wander and be a bit more mindful. And so in light of all this, I've had to make some changes. The thinking really is that if I do what I can to put myself in a better position to get better and to avoid what for me is the dreaded outcome of chronic fatigue, essentially this being it for me, I will always feel like this, to give my body the best chance of getting better, I've got to do my part, right? The body will do the subconscious bit that I can't control, but there are things that I can do. So the first of those is diet. So I'm pretty aggressively losing weight now, carefully, and watching macros and stuff, not doing anything weird or wacky, but watch this space. There'll be a little bit less neck fat in due course. I've taken up yoga, would you believe? Something I never thought I'd say, let alone admit to the internet, but actually really enjoying it. I can't get into some of the poses yet because my belly is in the way, but really just the mindfulness of it and the breathing and the meditative nature of it, I think is going to be transformational. I'm really enjoying that so far. And I'm making some changes to my scheduling. So I'm not working quite so much. I'm compressing the hours, particularly that I do client work in, because the one-to-one client interfacing stuff is the most brain and hence energy intensive. I already have a waiting list of clients waiting to work for me, which is a very privileged position to be in, but I'm just having to manage some expectations on that right now, and I will in time be bulking up my team here to give me more help. So if you're in Cornwall or you're wanting to move to Cornwall and you want to come and work for me, it would really help if you had some financial services experience. Just saying, hit me up. Good people in financial services are really hard to find. That shouldn't be the case, should it? And I'm going to be making an effort to be much more mindful of things and giving my brain a chance to unwind. It's, I suppose, partly the entrepreneur's curse. When you run your own business, you never truly switch off. But what is the point of building an empire, building wealth for the future, if you don't have your health to enjoy it? So, I really want to try and get the balance right. So, ask me how I'm doing if you want to. But right now I'm pretty positive. I'm definitely getting better. I'm feeling a little bit stronger every day. But I just wanted to say again, thank you so much to all of you for your messages of support, reaching out with great advice as well, those of you that have been through something similar. And it's been very humbling to receive the support that I have. I feel extremely grateful to you all. Meaningful Money is a big deal, right? And it's getting bigger, and it has so much potential to impact the world for good, and I need to have my strength to do that, all right? So I'm certainly not giving up anytime soon, but some things might just take me a little bit longer, and I may need to take the odd week off the podcast, as I've done over the last few weeks. But thank you for your patience with me, folks. I really appreciate it. I wanted just to show you something, because one little development is that I'm going to be moving rooms. You might not care, but I'm very excited about it. So this is my room currently, okay? So if I spin the camera around, you should see there's a bit of a bookcase here. It's not very tidy, my room at the minute. And I can't pan very easily, but this here is my podcast booth in there. In fact, let me just pick the camera up. So this is my recording booth here. The car doesn't usually live there, but that's a present from a friend and client and listener. Thank you, Trevor and Sally, for that. That's a VW Carman gear. You'll probably see that feature now and again in the background of my videos. I spend most of my work days here on my work desk. That's my personal Mac there, and that's where I was sitting just now. Gosh, what a mess. I should have tidied that up before doing this, but this is in the spirit of not sweating the small stuff too much. So I spend a lot of time also working on that big screen, particularly on Fridays, which is Meaningful Money Day. Okay, so that's the current space, but if we go out this door here, follow me. You're gonna look at me while I do it. Literally just around the corner in this other room here, and this will be the new Meaningful Money studio. So as you can see, lots of light, total mess at the moment. We've kind of used this room as a boardroom and a meeting room. It doesn't get used often enough, and probably likely to get used even less as that, thanks to COVID, as we increasingly work remotely. So this is about twice the space as I had currently, but I'll probably set up desks over there. We'll definitely be changing that wall colour. But it's a really light and airy room. It'll enable me to keep stuff like these lights and stuff more in place and not have to move them around quite so much. But it's going to be pretty cool. So I've got all kinds of design ideas for what to do in here to make it a space not only where I can produce great content for Meaningful Money, but I can see clients here as and when we're able to do that. So That's pretty exciting. Big old space, loads of natural light. I think it's going to be a really good space, and you'll get to know it as we do lots more of these kind of videos. So back into the other room. And here we are. Okay, so hope you enjoyed that, but there'll be lots more. I'll do probably a bit of a bigger tour certainly, and I'll keep you posted as we build the new studio office next door. But that's a super exciting development. That'll get me motivated and make me want to get well. So again, thank you all for watching and listening. I really appreciate you, and speak soon. Cheers.